The US Supreme Court has banned the use of race and ethnicity in university admissions. It deals a major blow to a decades-old practice that boosted educational opportunities for African Americans and other minorities. The justice broke 6-3 along conservative liberal lines in the decision, which came after years of right-wing antipathy to what's been referred to as affirmative action programs that have sought diversity in school admissions and business and in government hiring. 1 year after overturning the guarantee of a woman's right to have an abortion, the court's conservative majority again demonstrates its readiness to scrap liberal policies set in law since the 1960s. President Joe Biden said the Supreme Court is rolling back years of positive progress.
In case after case, including recently, just as a few years ago in 2016, the court has affirmed and reaffirmed this view that colleges could use race not as a determinative factor for admission, but as one of the factors among many in deciding who to admit from a already qualified pool of applicants. Today, the court once again walked away from decades of precedent and as the dissent has made clear. The dissent states in today's decision, quote, rolls back decades of precedent and momentous progress, end of quote. I agree with that statement from the dissents.
Let's get some analysis. Lawyer and former prosecutor Stephen Dreyfuss joins us now live. Stephen, getting to you. Biden there saying this is rolling back years of progress. What's your opinion?
Well, certainly it rolls back at least 20 years of judicial opinions endorsing the idea that ensuring diversity is a compelling state interest that justifies discrimination based on race. But I think it's important to note that the court's opinion left an escape clause. And at the end, the court said that we're not saying that you can't consider race at all. For example, you can consider, quote, an applicant's discussion of how race affected his or her life, be it through discrimination, inspiration, or otherwise, end of quote. So what they're basically saying is it has to be an individualized determination. And they recognize for the first time that admissions to these highly selective universities is really a zero-sum game. If somebody is selected for admission simply because of his or her race, it necessarily means that somebody else is denied admission simply because of his or her race, and that's what the court is finding improper here. But it still will be possible for admissions committees to consider the particular student's accomplishments, including overcoming racial discrimination, if that is something that that student has encountered. I think we're in for many, many years of litigation where disappointed applicants will be challenging the decisions of universities, claiming that they violate today's decision, and we will have more judicial decisions explaining really what the court meant.
This seems, maybe you'll be right if I'm wrong, but this seems to me that it's playing into the hands and the political views of a certain right-leaning group within the United States. And certainly if you're not white, you might be looking upon this as another slap in the face after many, many years of problems, for instance, involving policing.
Well, keep in mind that the plaintiffs in this action, the people that brought the action, were largely Asian students who considered that they themselves, a racial minority, have been adversely affected by the preference being given to blacks and Hispanics, but principally blacks, by these admissions policies. So it's not just for white students. I think the point that the court is making is that race alone should not be considered. Otherwise, as one of the judges pointed out, you could have a very wealthy son or daughter of a black investment banker who would get preference because he or she is black over a poor first-time college applicant who happened to be white or Asian. And the court says it shouldn't be the color of the skin that counts, it should be the accomplishments of the individual. How that's fleshed out in future cases remains to be seen.
Indeed, it seems like a very laudable thing to say. We wait and see, of course, how it all shakes down, as you say. Stephen, thank you as ever for shedding light on some of the things perhaps that happen in the States that outside it's difficult to really understand why it's happening. But you giving us that real insight, we appreciate it. Thank you very much indeed. Stephen Dreyfuss there. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Thanks, Mark.